It's a great day. Federal Way, Washington, where I live. Okay, fix my microphone here. Doing a special edition of coffee roast on Thursday. Gonna get this going. I'm gonna talk to you about all the. I guess I didn't bring my lighter out. Thought I brought my lighter out, but I didn't, so no biggie. Turn this propane on. Turn it on a little high, get this going. I'm assuming I just screwed that all up. Here's what we got going today. Got some Sweet Marias. Right there. So I had my thermometer here all set up for you, and then it got knocked out of the way by the roaster. I'm not sure if you can see it now. Trying to do some real-time monitoring. So doing a special Thursday roast here because last Sunday, I don't know, I was doing something, I don't even know what I was doing. I was busy. And I didn't get a roast in. I needed to, but I didn't. I think it was raining also, I can't remember. It's supposed to rain here today. It was a great day just about 30 minutes ago. Sun was out, it was really nice. And then clouds start rolling in. It's supposed to rain starting at 2. So I wanted to get out here, get a roast going. I got to do it, and I thought I would just share it. Again, I use the Sweet Marias for my green coffee beans. Again, you can get coffee beans almost anywhere, online, Amazon. There's other places where you can get green coffee as well. And so I'm going to go in and I'm going to try to fix this thermometer so you can see it. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to turn my mic off. Actually, I'm just going to leave it out here. So I'll work on getting that thermometer more in focus next time. I just have it zoomed in on my one camera here. 200 degrees is where we're at right now. I know you can kind of see it. I'll work on that one for my next one. Again, just toss together another quick live, trying to get everything going. So I have 2 colanders now. I think as I was talking in my last live, doing 2 pounds, these colanders are really only good for de-chafing a pound. So I got the additional colander to hopefully make it a little easier to get this dialed in and done. So again, I'm using my, it's not new anymore, but still been experimenting with this coffee roaster with the temperature and the heat and all that, trying to get the time down, especially for the live processing of doing this roast. Been using a little bit higher temperature. Crank it up a little more. Have a see-through window here where you can see what's going on with the beans. Be able to see the beans start changing color as it gets up to temperature and all that. And hopefully I don't run out of propane. I know this tank is getting a little empty here. So this isn't even my tank. I've been using this tank. My son brought over a pizza oven, and we've been using that, and I've been grabbing this tank and using it. He's now storing the pizza oven at our house, it seems like, which is fine. It's kind of fun. So I just noticed with how high up I have the gas, seems like the burner is a little low, so I don't know. It looks like I'm probably running out of propane. So that'll be great if I can run out of propane during a roast here. I do have another tank, so I can get it dialed in and turned around pretty quickly if it runs out. Again, roasting 2 pounds. I do the assortment of coffee beans from Sweet Maria's, so nothing's ever the same. We like that because, you know, every now and then the flavors are a little bit different. And I guess every time they're a little bit different. And since we're doing 2 different types, it's more of a blend of coffee beans. I haven't really had a flavor that I didn't like or was not great. When you're roasting at home and doing your own roasting, because you have the control to roast to the roast that you like, you know, whether it's light, medium, or dark roast. And, you know, with your first few roasts, you kind of have to play around with those numbers. We're at 300 degrees, 301, 303. So in a couple more minutes, we'll start getting our first crack to go. And once the first crack starts going, everything goes pretty quick from there. This roast looks like it shouldn't take too terribly long today because it seemed like I have my burner up pretty good temperature. Not seeing any real change in color on the beans. I got a little bit of color coming in, but not much. Again, with, you know, roasting at home, you know, you get the advantage of trying all different types of roast. I mean, even you could do it with a half a pound and do a half a pound at, say, a light roast, do another half a pound at, say, a medium roast. You know, you can experiment for like maybe an hour or two on a Sunday or a Saturday or whatever your free day is, maybe stay during the week. You have free time where you can, you know, kind of spend some, you know, learning this new hobby. You know, I think this is a really great hobby to have of your own because it benefits 2 things. It's something that you can enjoy doing, have fun doing. And another thing, you are learning on how to make something yourself, you know, like making bread or anything, pizza, you know. Some people, you know, really enjoy doing that kind of stuff. I do. I am always trying to do different things with all different kinds of things. You know, right now I'm a real outdoors type person. Grass and lawns are kind of my thing right now. I've done a lot of renovations this year. I think it was total number of 5 I did this year. I have 3 more people that want to do it next year. And it's something that I just really enjoy doing. You know, they're not really huge yards, so it's not like it really takes up a lot of my time, but I like seeing the end result. I'm not really patient waiting for that end result because it's really torturous to me, but, you know, overall, doing the coffee roasting, you get almost instant gratification, of accomplishing something and doing something. The worst thing about coffee roasting at home is you have to wait a day. Once you roast your coffee, you need to wait about a day for it to degas. And that's what I do. I just leave mine sitting out in the colanders here, let them sit out overnight, and then the next day I can start roasting it. And it's just kind of the process of roasting. Nothing difficult to it. Doing the de-chafing is probably the worst part of doing coffee roasting, especially if you're doing it with a fan and a colander like me. I just have a regular fan here, blowing air up, blowing through my colander. And I don't know what this is, aluminum, stainless steel. I don't know, it feels pretty firm. And at the end of the process here, when the coffee beans are ready to come off, we're just going to dump the beans into the colander. I'm going to split it into 2 different batches. And then I'm going to use the airflow from underneath to blow the chaff out. And the chaff is just, you can probably see some of it flying out of the roaster up here. See the little things coming out, that's chaff. And it's just the dried skin of the beans that's roasting out. And it's pretty normal. And depending upon the drying process the coffee roasters are using is going to depend upon how much chaff you're going to get. Some I've noticed with different drying processes, it says on the bag with if it was, I forget the terms that they use, but they have a couple different terms of types of drying that they do. That's what the farmer does, or the processing plant. You can see in the window now, it looks like we've got some good color coming in on our beans. And we're at a temperature of 358, almost 360. Seems like it's kind of stalled out a little bit here, slowing down. Just keep turning this thing up. Push that thing to get done. Anyways, the de-chafing process, like I was saying, is just a process that is, what you want to do outside for sure. Roasting inside, going to create a lot of smoke. Once we get up to about 420 degrees, 430 degrees, this is going to start smoking a little more. Right now, we just have a little bit of smoke. And if you had a good exhaust fan in your kitchen over your burner, you might be able to suck some of that out, but you're going to lose that battle as it really starts smoking. But on top of that, all the chaff that's blowing up, it's going to just make a big mess. I'd rather make the mess outside and not have to worry about cleaning it up too much. And so once we do the de-chafing and the cooling, we basically are done. We're just going to let it sit out and degas. And that's a process where the beans are releasing the gases that are produced in the roasting process. That's an important step. You don't want to just, roast and then start drinking the coffee. So we're at 390. And so this time, instead of talking through this whole thing, I'm going to go ahead and kind of keep down on the chatter. I'll let this process, roll out. I'm going to go for 425 today. And at 425, I'm going to start shutting everything down. Got the first crack happening. And we'll see if we can get a little bit of that sound. So at this point, everything's going to start going really quick. So I'm just going to monitor the temperature. I don't know if my probe is in there enough or what. Looks like the color is still good. You know, that's the great thing about having a see-through window on this. If for some reason the probe fell out, I can still monitor the color that's going on with the beans, and I can just do a visual, you know, color check on whether I think the beans are getting close or not close. Yeah, just kind of monitoring the bean color. Like I said, I'm not really sure if the temperature probe is in there far enough. We're at about 420 degrees, and it seems like it's roasting a little slower at this point, so I might let it go just a little bit longer. Now the temperature's starting to climb pretty good, pretty quick. Put my gloves on. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat off. And I'm just going to let this roast out at ambient temperature here. No gas on it. Kind of let the beans even out inside. Maybe there might be a few that aren't quite up to temp yet. Kind of get everything to get meshed all together. So we're at 433, 435. Gonna shut it down. And like I've said before, in some of my roasts, I have these channel locks that I use now to open the door. Because with these stupid big bulky gloves I got, it makes it really hard to open this door. Just gonna dump it all into one colander. Going to try to stand upwind here of everything. Got a really nice medium roast here, a little light medium. Could have gone a little longer. Oh, well, my last couple batches have been a little dark, so it'd be nice to get a nice medium that back into the coffee pot. Now, if you wanted to make something for your espresso machine, you know, you just generally want to go up to about 455 degrees, get a really nice dark roast on it for a nice, good, deep espresso flavor. And once you start getting over 460, you're going to be in jeopardy of beans catching on fire. So you want to be mindful of that. So generally at about 450, I would start turning the, you know, and it's just all a matter of judgment and your time. You know, how long does it take you to get the gas turned off? How long is it going to take you to get the door open on the roaster? You know, how long is it going to take you to get it poured out into your colander? You know, all that time is going to have to be taken into effect because the coffee is going to keep cooking and roasting and getting darker the longer it sits in the roaster where it's nice and hot. So you need to think about all those things when you start doing your roast. That's why this time at about 425, 430, I was ready to start yanking it off. I'm going to stop doing this one. I'm going to go over this one here. That way I didn't get too dark of a roast. Lots of chafe. And like I said, doing 2 pounds, I've just noticed. And so, well, it's double the chafe, that's for sure, because it's 2 pounds. I used to only do 1 pound at a time. And now that I've started doing 2 pounds, This has gotten to be a much messier process. And like I said, you know, you don't have to do 1 pound. You don't have to do 2 pounds. You do a half pound. The only thing you have to think about when you do a half a pound is the less beans you have in there, the harder it is to get the temperature probe down into the beans on a consistent basis. So I'm no expert in coffee roasting. I know the process. I don't really know all the reasons why. Like I know in the degassing process, it's important. Couldn't tell you why. I know it has something to do with, I believe it's carbon dioxide in the beans being released. I used to know, but I've been doing this so long. One of those things I just sit and store in my memory. Just know the degassing process is important. Let it sit out and breathe for a day, 24 hours. I would assume it would probably have an effect on flavor, but I really don't know. I've never roasted coffee immediately or made coffee after immediately roasting it. I've always let it sit out. And, you know, I learned this from somebody else. So I haven't really read up on all this terms and everything like that. I just know the process. Sweet Maria's, or I'm sure there's plenty of, I'm sure YouTube people out there that will get into the details of all the importances. You know, my basic thing is here is I'm just showing my process. You know, get you interested in maybe trying this out. Said before, for about $100, you can get a basic popcorn popper roasting setup and some beans, a fan, and this thermometer that I use. I believe it's only like $40. And I'm going to show it to you here. I think it's about good. And I feel like de-chafing is a never-ending process. So that's it. See if we can get you a close-up view of that. So like I said, I'm gonna let this sit out on the counter for overnight. I'll probably drink some in the morning. I know we're running really low on coffee right now, so we might have to put this in the old coffee maker. So this is the thermometer. It's just got a wire temperature probe right here. And this is what you definitely want to get into the beans, this part down here. And they have these at Sweet Maria's as well. You can pretty much get everything you need to get started at Sweet Maria's, or you can go out Amazon or wherever and look for the things individually. But you know, it's nice to get say a 4-pound sampler thing of green coffee, or you can just get a pound. It doesn't matter. You know, popcorn popper. The only thing about the popcorn popper is you got to crank it by hand, and it takes about 12 to 15 minutes to do a coffee roast. So if you're cranking it by hand, you got to think about that. That's going to get a little tiring after a while. So you might want to think about that. This roaster I have here, it's about $130. You know, it's still a fairly cheap setup to get going. And if you have a gas grill, you know, you'll probably have propane already. And the only additional thing is the burner. This is like a turkey fryer burner for outdoors, camping burner. They're about 80 bucks. Mine's the high pressure one, so it actually has a higher BTU content. I recommend getting that just because it's going to be able to put a little more heat up into your roaster while you're roasting to get that temperature or get that roast going nice and quick. Like I said, let's see. Oh, I guess we've been on about 25 minutes. So, it took about 20 minutes to do a nice good roast from start to finish, getting everything going, dialed in, set up, me doing some talking. So I think that looks pretty good. Pretty even color. All right, we'll go ahead and cut her there. Next time I'll try to get that thermometer in better view for you. Anyways, coffee roasting right there. Try it out. Nice little hobby, something to do on Sunday morning for me. Saturday, whatever day is a good day for you to do this kind of hobby. It just takes about 30 minutes of your time. All right, everybody, have a great day. I'll see you on the next roast.